superhero, Herman Moore. How are you doing, man? So glad. I got to tell you, I have to apologize from the very, very bottom of my heart because I've been sending these links as we go, and we got so involved in this conversation that I was like so excited, and all of a sudden I saw Chrissy calling. I was like, oh God, no, I really screwed up. And then worse yet, it's one of those awkward things that guys like me get. I'm like, hey, locked in, can't wait to talk again, and I hit like double space and send the text last night and it said, can't wait to talk again, B. And that's what sent, because I hit the B instead of the double. I'm like, oh no, I called him B. He's gonna think. And then I'm like, do I tell him no, I didn't mean to type B, it was supposed to be. Oh, I'm just not gonna say any. Herman, it's been a disaster thus far. I hope you can help us make it all right.
No, absolutely. Come on, it's gonna be okay. You guys, it's always you because of the where your hearts are and the energy and everything that you do. You know what? You're always winning, so it doesn't matter.
I'm going to call you B from now on. This is great.
I can roll with that. Thanks, Jay.
I'm good with legend for Herman. The legendary Herman Moore.
There you go.
Herman, appreciate the love.
Dude, I thank you so much for joining us. It is so great to have you. You know how much we love you and how much you meant to Lions fans. And I mean, to me, you were when you're in 20s, like we're about the same age. At that age, when you were playing and you were there, you know how passionate people are. It's a lot of times irrational passion at that age because you're not quite really a man yet. You're still a kid. And growing up, having you and Brett and Wayne and Barry and Lomas and everybody, it was like peak Lions, man. And you will forever be etched in my fandom and kind of one of the just cornerstones of what entrenched me as a Lions fan. I appreciate everything you did as a Lion. And the fact that you stayed in Detroit and have done everything in the city since then says so much about you and your character and what kind of person you are. You are just an example for people everywhere, not just athletes, just for people and how to be part of a community and give back from your success. I just want to thank you for everything you've done for the city and the fans and everything else along the way. You are a great human being.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It's not hard to do that when the people treat you so kind. And you hear a lot of horror stories. You hear the tales where athletes and fans and they clash and all those things. But you know what? I think it's something to character. And the fans have been nothing but tremendous to me. They've been wonderful being a part of the various communities. I live in Southeast Michigan, but I travel vastly throughout because it's an entire state. We're all one, and it's just love, man. And I can't say enough about just the fact that even though I was born in Virginia, I tell people that all the time. That's my mantra: born in Virginia, raised in Michigan. It's just a different place. It's a different type of people, and I get along with everyone. I treat everyone the same. I bring my Southern hospitality up here to y'all, the cold state, and make sure people keep their hearts warm. And so thanks to you all as well, all the good things that you do. That's why I don't mind anytime you call and you say, hey, can you jump on? You want to be on the show? It's just a lot of respect for the consistency of who you are, both are as people, and also the great that you do. Beyond just, I know you talk sports, but you talk a lot about how you help people. So I'm privileged to be here as well.
Appreciate you, Herman, very much.
Yeah.
Riz,
yeah. It's just so I'm gonna lead with it. You are on the Hall of Fame semifinalist ballot. We had this conversation last year, Herman. I think you belong in. I want you to make your case for being in the Hall of Fame. Okay,
so you're giving me a little bit of news. So did I make it to the next round?
No, you're in the initial round. They'll announce the next round.
Okay.
Yeah. They announced the next one, I think, at Thanksgiving. So hopefully it's a happy Thanksgiving for you on that. But
okay, we'll see what happens.
I would be happy to make the case for you, but I want you to tell the people who might not have been old enough to watch you play how great you were. That's a terrible phrase.
Tell us how awesome you are.
I think maybe I need to get my mom on here, because I don't think anyone can do me the justice that a mother could do for her son. So I think if anyone's ever campaigning for the Hall of Fame, you got to get your mom or your dad or your guardian or someone, brother, sister, something. You got to get that person that's your real ride or die to do it for you. But, the best that I can do for it is this. And it's something I used to shy away from, but I started to realize, you know what, you can't allow your legacy to get buried on top of whatever's new and shiny. Yep. And it's not that you push those things to the side as much as you really try and make sure people realize the things that you've earned, the passion and the commitment that you made for excellence or to win and to make people proud of you. And I think I did that. I epitomized that in my career. I tried to do as much as I could when I could. Do we fail? Do we sometimes have missteps or setbacks? Absolutely. I wouldn't be any different. But those are the things that are necessary to put me exactly where I'm supposed to be right now in life. And the thing I'll say, if you ask me to make a case for myself, is this. I went to the Pro Bowls. When I went, it was only 1 year I didn't go as an All-Pro. In that you can take all of the guys that you can put in there in the top 10, top 8, whatever guys from the 90s. I only can play when I played. Can't play in the 2000s. I can't play in 2023. That's not my era. But when you put it in there, you're going to be hard pressed to take me out of the top 4. And when there's at least 8 guys or so that are from that era that are in the Hall, how you can just leapfrog guys and just pass over others, it baffles me. You try and look at how many had all pros. I'm not going to fall below the top 3 or 4. You ask how many guys, led for a substantial period of time as a starter. I only started 7 years. And in those 7 years as a starter, consecutive years, you're not going to take me out of the top 5. So I did what I was supposed to do. Barry Sanders and I, from 94 through 98 for 5 consecutive years, were ranked as the number 1 running back and number 1 receiver in the NFL. I mean, that's just the way it is. So when you look at it, 5 of his 8 years, he and I ruled. I only played with Barry for 8 years. So 5 of those 8 years we ruled, and not to throw anything like that, but I'm gonna put it out there. I think during that time period I had more touchdowns than he did. So, that's one of those things that I try and take whatever I can where I can get it with Barry. But we're tremendous teammates, and that's just from the individual piece. But as a team, we went to the playoffs 6 of the 9 years we played in the 90s. I came in 91. And so, there's a lot of things you can put in there. But at the same time, I think the market, and because people think a certain way about the Midwest or think about the Lions, it hurts the case. But you need people advocating for you. And I just think I get lost in that mix. But I never was a backup but 1 year out at the Pro Bowl. So that's all I'm gonna say. And back then it meant something, because if you weren't a starter, you had to take special teams duty. So I only did special teams once. And I'm gonna put it like that. And if you look at who the other guys were with me, they did special teams. So there you go.
That's a great job. You did an awesome job, Herman. You did it.
So give me my thing, right? And I always tell people, let Megatron be Megatron. I'm Optimus Prime. And then whatever you got going on with the current guys today, whatever you got going on today with the guys and whatever they're doing, that's cool. Let them have their glory, but you don't have to bury and discard people who've done it in the past and try and make it as if they didn't matter or they don't, didn't do their thing when they did it. So that's all I'll say. So I appreciate the platform to do that, but that's an all nothing but love and respect. But I have to uphold my own legacy.
So I want to tell you, Herman, that was probably the most humble way to say how awesome you were that you could have done. And that just, again, speaks to character. But we got people in the chat here. Same numbers in the Cowboys or Niners during the same era, and he's first ballot. Herman's 100% Hall of Fame caliber. Another one. Wait, and sorry not to be on top of this already. Just assume he was already in. Like, what's the question here? This doesn't make sense at all, right? Detroit Lions get players overlooked because the teams we've had were so bad for so many years. That doesn't make sense. And then I had a Moore jersey that was lost in a move. I still think about it and wonder who has that jersey today. And the thing that Riz said about you looking like you can play today, even with a little bit of salt in that beard, we've seen you. That body, That you look like you could go out there and do that right now. You have not lost. Look, maybe Herman's a 4.5 runner now. Maybe he's a 4.5 guy, but
4.6.
Okay,
4.6. All right.
How humble this man is. You look like you get out there today. You absolutely are a first ballot guy, and I think we need to put something together. I don't know, something beyond just Slack division and hashtags. We've got to evangelize this ballot for Herman, Jeff, because he deserves it. He's done a lot for Lions fans. I want to ask you, Herman, last team to win a playoff game had a guy named Herman Moore on it. And you know what that feels like. And you're one of the a small group of Lions alive today who knows what that feels like. Look at this team this year, and it looks like this could be the team that does it, that breaks that streak and comes back and is able to do what Herman and Lomas and the guys were able to do. I want you to tell me one of the things you think that's absolutely so similar between then and that team then and the team now, and then something you see that's really, really different between the two teams. Because your expertise and your insight, like the breakdowns you do for Lions Nation Unite, so smart, just such smart stuff. And this is a question I think that you are uniquely qualified to answer.
I appreciate that. When I look at the similarities, you have. People won't see the similarities between Coach Wayne Fonts and Coach Dan Campbell, but there are some similarities. One in that he lets players be players. He's treating them like men. He's allowing them to own their accountability and their responsibility versus feeling like, I'm going to tell you what to do. You better do it. And if you don't, it's my way or the highway. That's old school. That's old. That's a mentality that we know that just doesn't work. There's a collective that needs to happen. And what he's done is he's brought it together and say, we win together and we lose together. These are simple things that people overlook, and they think that it doesn't resonate and doesn't go. There's contracts, there's business. He lets them handle their business. I think the organization is warmed up to the fact that you can't escape the fact that football is a business. Professional sports is a business. We were letting guys go for $100,000 difference. Right now, these guys they may squabble over $10 million difference, but they're not going to argue over $1 million, $2 million. You make it feel like it's a place you want to be. Do you have it to where players are attracted and they want to come here? You have players that are unselfish, and it's not about whose names are in bright lights. They're going to do what they do, and then they'll let the media do what they do with their gameplay. And they've stayed together. Think about this. How much bickering have you heard? How much dissension have you heard in the locker room? That was the same way. When you look at our team back in that time, you can't pick out guys and say, oh, these guys were griping and complaining and everything. No, we protected. And when it's not us against them, it's we. And I think they've cracked that code to say, you know what, if we build that, it'll happen. But here's what's interesting. And this is what I see as being slightly different. Now, we had a lot of players. We had a lot of Pro Bowlers. We had some guys who eventually will be in the Hall of Fame. Barry was obviously one, but there's other guys who you're going to make a case for that are going to eventually be there. And we built it off of first-round picks, Heisman Trophy people. These were high-priced guys, the Pat Swilling. We were just going out and trying to get names. They've done their work, and they go out and they get players who have ability to go from C players to B players, B players to A players, and they pay them and they give them the opportunity. The opportunity turns into gratitude. The gratitude turns into loyalty. And in that, you now have built the culture of what the Lions have become. And that is a place where you're treated fairly, is a place where you come to play. It's a place where you come where the coaching staff understands and they've been through what you've been through. So everything lines up right. This is done by design. This isn't something that they just kind of has thrown together. And because of that, they're winning on grit. They're winning on players getting better each year. And they're winning on the fact that they're in great communication and they're staying together. And those are things that some intangibles sometimes that people don't realize make winners and champions. So I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about what they're doing. I'm excited to see some of these young players becoming overnight, quickly becoming superstars. And as an alum, I hope that 2024 will be the time we say that was the last time the Lions won a playoff game.
Yeah. Oh no, 2026, 2028. We'll keep going, right?
Well, I'm talking about as far as next year. Like next year when we're here.
Okay.
Instead of 91, 92 or whatever it was, 90,
91.
That's a long time.
You're willing to move on from being one of those people. Like I was the last guy to win. Like you're ready to give that up.
Yeah, I mean that is one that we actually need to get off our back, because we as an organization, as alum, we want to talk about the success not only that we had, but the success that our team is still enduring and still having, and our fan base being number one, and so on and so forth. Not about another opportunity that slipped away, another opportunity. I mean, everything is aligning really good for this team right now.
Yeah.
You look at their schedule. Teams are getting better, so I'm not jaded. Some of the teams that I think we would have said they could walk over early on, they now have an opportunity to play later. But these teams are getting better, so the Lions are going to have to continue to get better. They can't rest on what they've done.
Yeah. Think about this. We've all heard of the Bobby Lane curse. Could it be the Herman Moore blessing? When you get into the Hall of Fame, we get the big win again. I feel like that's it. Back to the championship. And that's what it is, right? For a team to get into the playoffs is exactly what it takes to get to win a championship. That's the first step. Win a playoff game is the second step. But once you get there, and I keep using the New York Giants, that 9-7 team, as the example, just get in. They barely got in. They were the wild card, barely stumbled in, and came out with a Super Bowl champion at the end. This team, the grit, the way that they're built is so much in that mold where they could do it. Just get them in and give them a chance, and they will play their hearts out and do whatever it takes to get to that point. But I'm so excited to see what they have. I'll talk about a similarity, I think, between Coach Campbell and Coach Fonts. I want to see what you think. It's the heart of those coaches. They wore it a little bit differently. Coach Campbell wears his. You'll see him in tears. It's a different time back in the 90s, the way men were, right? You didn't show tears, right? But I think there was tears on the inside for Coach Fonts. He loved you guys. He loved his players, and he loved his team, and he loved what you guys gave, and it meant a lot to him. And I feel Coach Campbell is very, very much the same way. And I think that's very, they come from the same mold in that way. Do you agree? Is that something you see in those guys?
I think you're spot on there. He is part of the team. He's part of the locker room, but he knows his position in that of the leader of that team, that especially the one that takes to the field. There's an accountability and responsibility that he doesn't shy away from, because he knows if something's broken, he's got to be the one to help get it fixed. He's accepting if there's a failure, that he's a part of that failure. He's not throwing it on the players only, because he knows it takes a collective. It takes the team to get it done. So, yeah.
That makes sense. We have a question.
Let me ask you, go ahead, Riz. I want to go on a follow up on that real fast. Is how fast can you, as a player, like pick that out from your coach and see that it's sincere? The way Wayne was clearly, Coach Fonts was always, you always knew where you stood with him, good, bad, and that it was coming from an honest and open place. And you see that with Dan. How quickly can you guys in the locker room figure out when that's not going to happen?
I can tell you this. For Coach Campbell, here's what you can trust. He came in, first two seasons were not very good. They started to claw their way back in the second half of the second year. You've seen him at his worst. You know what his worst looks like. His worst looks like commitment. His worst looks like dedication, loyalty, having that lion in him, and that grit that we talk about is there. So we've seen that. Sometimes it takes a coach coming into a winning situation before they hit chaos and failure, before you truly understand who they are, and if they're willing to be that ride or die, if they're really there for you as a coach. But they had the blessing, believe it or not, of him coming into a situation that wasn't the best of things. He's taken over a regime that had massive failure. And then to come in, and expectations are probably at the lowest of lows. And then even starting off on a bad foot with, biting kneecaps and all this stuff that people thought was joking, and he was the butt of all the jokes, right? Yeah. And that he was underqualified and all these things. The team has seen that. So now you know who you're dealing with. so you can deal with the upside. So that's what I see. That's what I like about him. That's why I know it can be trusted. The others, when they come in and they start talking about their system, they start talking about their way, they start talking about the pedigree and the trees that they come from and the coaches that they've come from and the systems they've helped make successful and all that, they're talking about they're bigger than you. And if the failure happens, it's not because of them, it's because of you. And players see through that right away. We've been around the block too many times to know if you're in it with us or not. And if you've already started to create dissension or division, in just the words that you use, because your words are powerful.
Yeah. And you talk about a pendulum swing. It feels like we went from one to the other in the previous regime to Coach Campbell. And a lot of that, it feels like that's a little person, because they've already submitted themselves to that tree. They've already said that this defines me, not I define myself or I define my strategy. And that's where I think that means that the players are defined by something that isn't even the coach. So I get what you're saying there. I just feel like it's a real tough, you have an uphill battle as a leader trying to come through as all these other things are more important than what you know as a player. You just can't get there. Let me really quick, I got to hit. We're doing this for St. Jude. Herman's here to help us raise some money for St. Jude. stjude.org/DLP. Get your dollars in there. Help us out. Help us raise some money for some families, some sick kids and their families that never pay a dime when they get that help. There's some great research that they do that helps people that don't even leverage St. Jude or St. Jude services. The research and the stuff that's come out of them and the medicines that have come out of their research have helped people throughout the world. It's great money spent on a great cause, they spend very, very little on marketing or anything else. All that money goes to the patients and the people that need the help. Big thanks to Lions Bay, $500 in 2 different donations. Thanks for putting this time in for a great cause. Go Lions. Garrett, $50. Thank you. Jousting Mouse, love the show. What's Jeff's favorite Coheed and Cambria song? We'll come back to that in a little bit.
We'll get to that.
But I have for you really quick, Frosty Cakes has a question. Dear Herman, do you have any interest in wide receiver coaching? And what do you think you could do to help Jamo out? Obviously, Jamo is a polarizing character. For everything we've seen, here's a guy that could just blow the roof off of the wide receiver position in the NFL. He has all the traits, physical traits to do this. We're not seeing it. What would you do to help him get to that point where we all really believe we know he could be?
Well, one, I say this all the time, and I've tried in the past to, apply and try and become part of coaching and being asked to come over, and I've offered that. Other regimes just they didn't want that. They it is what it is. But I would love the opportunity to be a part of that, be a part of speaking to especially young athletes, but even the veterans, about what it takes to really be successful at that level. And there's some things I've learned, especially as I've gotten older, and I've been able to reflect back to understand how to kind of do it even better. And some of the mistakes, even though I had success, that I could do a little bit differently, that I could pass along. So when I look at Jamo, here's what I get. And I was going to say this on our on Lions Nation Unite, but I'm going to give it to you guys first, kind of my view, because I haven't given anyone my overview. Yeah. And for all of you that are here, first and foremost for this cause, St. Jude's is an outstanding place. The research they do is impeccable. It's important. The patient care services that are provided and the family support services that are there, you don't know the difference that it makes. So I'm encouraging everyone to really, if you have the means and the resources, this is a place you're going to feel really good about what is going to happen with your funds. So I'm encouraging everyone who's listening to really reach in a little bit deeper and do whatever you can. You don't have to overextend, but just do what you can. It will go a long way. But with Jamo is this. I think he can be fixed not quickly, but I think it can be done very methodically. And here's what I would do if it were me. I would get him involved. I would move him into the slot. I'd take him from the outside. He's too easy to defend as an outside guy. Bring him into the slot occasionally. I don't think he's going to find his thing. If you put him and St. Brown both in the slot, even if you go split sets and you go 2 receiver sets on each side and you mirror your routes, you have a person I think will defeat the 101. I think he needs to get shorter routes where you're getting the ball in his hands very quickly. If you look at Amon Ra St. Brown, as he kind of runs and he finds holes in the zones, I think getting Jamo those type, you're asking him to come out of his shell, to come out of the kind of flatness that he's in, only on big routes, big plays. That is the lowest percentage completion that you're going to have. You're not going to build his confidence. You're going to continue to destroy it. Put the ball in his hands, give him opportunity to make some moves in the open like he did when he was in college. But also he's going to get some catches under his belt. He's got to touch the ball. If you're not going to let him touch the ball right now and be a part of beating one-on-one or having really quick routes where he can get in and out of cuts, he's going to be destroyed. And I'm saying that because I'm telling you, I can see where he's lacking in his confidence. His confidence is only going to grow from catching deep balls and touchdowns. That's awful. That's not who he is. So that's what I would be doing right now. Treat him like I would treat a St. Brown. And I think the effectiveness that we've seen with St. Brown, you get another person who's just as good, who's faster, and who can make those type of plays happen. And I would love to see what a combination like that would look like.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Here's one. For the kids, Mr. Moore, my dad taught me how to catch a football by having me watch you catch the football. One of my heroes growing up. DLP has always had the best content around. Thank you, Pat D, for that very, very much. Herman, it brings up a good question. You have this role as an athlete. I mean, we sit here, I tell you how impactful you were in some of my formative younger years watching you play and how much it kind of, I mean, I'm doing this, right? I mean, part of that is just because of you playing ball. You didn't know me. We never met right back then, but you've had an effect on a number of people just by doing what you do for a living. What does that do for a person throughout? I mean, in the moment, do you understand what your effect is? And in time, what do you think about that kind of legacy and the things that you brought to so many people in the lives you've touched that you have never even met?
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from upbringing. It comes from the values that my mother instilled in me. Even as a single parent, she didn't allow me to make excuses. She said, if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. And a lot of people think that these coined statements and these things don't have value. Sometimes the most simplistic things that you say are the most powerful. When you try and shape it up and put big words and put it in fancy spins and all that stuff, the message gets lost. Right. And for me, it's to leave it better than where I got it, to be better than I was the day before, to see where can I get better every day in every way. To be kind and polite. People smile at you, smile back. It's like it's not that difficult. And for me, is what less lasting impression can I leave? When you start understanding that you think professional athletes and these rich people and all that are only people who can have a legacy. No, everyone can have a legacy. Right. Each of us can have a legacy. What is that legacy we're going to commit to being? Mine is to continue to educate, take lessons that I've learned, share what I've learned, and take those lessons that I've learned and pass them along to other people and not hold them so close to my vest that I'm the only one who can benefit from it. So when I talk to kids and I talk to them about, how to become better people, be men of character, women of character, be people of character, how to make sure people understand who you are coming and then make sure they have the right impression when you're leaving. You never have to worry about who's saying what behind your back. And if you give your best, truly, if you give your best, think of it. You couldn't have done any more. That's the simplest thing you can give. I want to leave you this one last piece. And I was telling someone this the other day. I was listening to a podcast and a person said, if I gave you $50 million, would you take it? And everyone raised their hand. Yes, we take it. They say, okay, if I told you I'm going to give you $50 million, but you can't wake up tomorrow. You won't wake up tomorrow. Will you still take that money? And they were like, no, I wouldn't do that. But every day we wake up and it's worth more than we think is worth more than $50 million. So when we wake up, think of the value of just getting up and having the opportunity to do something, anything. And if you put it in that perspective, we are priceless. We are special people and individuals that are blessed every day. So I say to that, I'm thankful to just be here to be able to share that with the audience. I'm here thankful being able to say, please contribute and support this cause. Do something for someone else that you don't know. You're going to feel a lot better. I'm telling you, you're going to feel good about it. And it's going to show the character that you have, that you can make an effect on people that you never meet, you don't know, just like you just mentioned. but you did something that you set an example for. This is the right thing to do, and that's how I live my life. And every day is a challenge. I have my challenges, and life happens like everyone else. But I don't let that be the excuse for me not being a good person or getting things done. That's all I can leave them.
I think we'll leave it with this comment from the chat. Herman Moore is an absolute legend, and I don't think there's anything else that can be said. Herman, you are an exemplary human being, and we can all learn from you. And I appreciate you joining us. I mean, you are, again, the conversations we have, you're just such a fantastic person, and you deserve everything you've gotten. You deserve that Hall of Fame spot. We're going to make it our mission. We're going to make it the mission to get you into the Hall of Fame this year. We're going to get word out there. I don't care. I'll show up at some doorsteps of some ballot holders. We're going to do some stuff to get you in if we have to. We're going to muscle our way in there. Can you just really quick, I saw a little thing that you were doing with Lomas, and you guys have a quick thing, something you guys are putting together. I'd love for you to share it with everybody really quick before we call it an interview here, because I think it's going to be something special.
Yeah, absolutely. First, on the thing on the jacket, I still got a canary yellow jacket. It may not be the Hall of Fame yellow. Maybe I'll get a patch from someone and put my own patch on the jacket, and we call it a day. But Lomas and I have been friends for 20 plus years. He's someone that when I came in, I considered him like a mentor and a big brother. And through my career, he's been the hardest on me, but he's also been the guy that's been strongest in my corner when it comes to just doing the right things and setting the example. Great person. So I wanted to celebrate my relationship with him and my friendship with him and brotherhood over the years. I created something I worked on for the last 2 years called Herman Low. And it is artwork that I had a guy commissioned to do and work with me to come up with the different themes to celebrate all 32 teams. They are absolutely beautiful. And when we roll those out, we're rolling them out as stretch canvases, as blankets, puzzles, and all kind of other things that people can have access to. They're collectible, limited edition items, but I guarantee you will not be disappointed. And we're going to roll them out for Christmas. So stay tuned with us. I'll make sure you guys get the links when we have it. Yeah, and then part of the portion of the proceeds that we raise will always go back to some type of a cause. So that's what it is. I won't throw out too much and break what it is, sure, but you will be 100% happy. And I promise you, please support us and show some love. Give us
as soon as you can, get us the information.
Yeah,
we will get it out there.
We will definitely help you. You and Lomas, we will do anything for Lomas.
Anything.
Real quick, how awesome was it to see Lomas get inducted into the Ring of Honor last weekend?
No, it was great to see him do that. And I did tell him this, and I'll tell this to all the fans. I mean, if you don't know Lomas is a class guy. He is by far one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. And I think he should have been there even before me and in those things, because he's that great of a player. Hopefully he gets into the Hall of Fame. If he goes before me, I will not be unhappy. I'll feel blessed to know another Hall of Famer for the Lions. But it's great seeing him get his due, and it's great seeing the things that he's doing in broadcast. It's not what he started with, but it's what he's finishing with. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tougher road for those trench guys, but he definitely deserves it. He's a special person too. It's true. I keep saying it across this organization, from person to person to person I met. They are character individuals, people that I would walk away and say I would be happy to be friends with this person. Just really great people associated with this organization. Detroit Lions have done a good job throughout the years. That look, the Super Bowl rings may not be there, but more importantly, the character people are. And I think the rings will come. And I think we're at a precipice of a very good space. But I'd rather get the ring surrounded by great people than show up and we got a bunch of thugs, grabbing at the rings or whatever. So this is a great thing. So Herman, I appreciate your time. Thank you for putting up with all the stuff, B. We'll get it. Great to have you. And thank Chrissy and all the team over there. You guys do great stuff.
Always.
Nation United. You can say hi to Mike for us. He's a good kid. We like him a lot. He's great. Does good stuff for you guys too. So thank you, man. Appreciate you.
We'll do that. Keep up the great work, and thank you so much, and go Lions Nation.
All right. Thank you, man. We'll see you. All right. Herman Moore.